Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, Tasmania could be heading towards a state of recession as the coronavirus bill continues to add up. The Premier has handed down his first detailed look into what the future holds and the havoc the pandemic has wreaked on our budget. To explain more, we're joined now by our reporter, Ruby Kamain. Good evening, Ruby. So what did we learn today?
Kim, this update truly did show the real and devastating extent this disease has had and how it'll impact us for years to come, as we've moved from dealing with a health crisis now to an economic one. It'll be a very long road to recovery, and it's going to be a huge task for us to rebuild. The headline figures we learnt this afternoon were, by next financial year, our budget will be in more than $1 billion deficit. Net debt will rise to $2.3 billion, and as we've heard previously, our unemployment rate will sit at about 12%. Let's take a more detailed look now at what the future holds for Tasmania's once booming economy. March 2020, Tasmania's first coronavirus case diagnosed. Since then, we've had 225 cases. We've experienced a northwest outbreak and 13 deaths, but it could have been much worse.
Modelling that was considered by National Cabinet indicated that up to 90% of the population could have been impacted by coronavirus if measures weren't taken.
Today, the Premier outlined exactly what toll the pandemic has had on the state's bank balance. Only last year, Tasmania's economy was growing rapidly. Last year's budget in surplus $57 million, now plunging towards a deficit of $716 million next year, $1 billion the year after, and a net debt of $2.3 billion.
On one hand, we've been dealing with a health crisis. Now we're dealing with an economic and financial crisis. I need Tasmanians to understand where we are so that we can go forward together at this point.
Go and do business. Go and spend money with your local business. They should be getting out of their lounge rooms now, going and doing some shopping or shopping online with their local businesses.
International exports and employment the hardest hit. Also household consumption, booming in March due to panic buying, now expected to fall. Gross state product seeing its largest decline since records began. Treasury now predicting a potential recession after recording the sharpest economic decline since the 2008 global financial crisis, saying moving forward, new or increased taxes haven't been considered.
This will remain focused on one key aim, and that is to get our society back to normal. And to get, importantly, the thousands of Tasmanians who have lost their jobs back into productive work.
The measurement will be how they treat the labour market, how they respond to the jobs challenge, and that must be around the unemployment rate, the underemployment rate and the participation rate.
The Premier saying Tasmania will build its way out of economic disaster, using construction to slash the unemployment rate, expected to reach 12%.
That's why today I'm announcing that in the coming weeks and months we're going to lay out the most aggressive construction program in Tasmania's history and identify those projects that can be brought forward and commenced swiftly.
So we'll have a pool of unemployed people, we'll have job opportunities which we can create together to get people back into work, because that will be what drives our economy and makes us all move past this and to what I'm hoping is actually a better Tasmania.
As the government continues to pave its road to recovery.
I know it won't be easy. COVID-19 will be with us for some time, but we know this strategy will work. We've rebuilt our economy once before.
Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, teachers are preparing to face a new reality, with changes already being rolled out for thousands of students to return to school. But for our youngest children also going back to early learning, the sector says it will be a long road to recovery.
This school resembles a ghost town. Elizabeth College's classrooms falling silent, with nearly all of its 970 students learning from home.
And the students have shown their resilience in being able to keep up with their work and be connected.
But now the clock is ticking for students to return to their desks. In little over a week, Tasmania's oldest and youngest learners will be back on campuses, and teachers are already busy preparing.
that you don't have 10 students on one table and 2 students on another. And we are also asking teachers to have a think about their class size and the room that they're in.
Hygiene practices in place within our schools, social distancing measures such as no assemblies, for example, and school trips.
Part of the race to get Year 12 students especially back on track.
They did lose that week in the school holidays and a little bit of disruption at the end of last term, so there certainly will be some catching up, but teachers have been doing a great job.
Overnight, Tasmania reached its 7th day in a row without a coronavirus case. As more people return to work, childcare centres are also adapting.
We don't keep children in that's your space and you don't move. Children interact. We need to respond to children. It is absolutely problematic.
But with some centres losing casual staff at the height of the pandemic, they're now unable to keep up with demand. Some forced to turn away families. And the sector isn't expecting a rapid recovery.
Very reliant on jobs and the economy, so until people re-engage again in the workforce, hospitality, tourism picks up, it will be slow.
Tasmania currently has only 22 active coronavirus cases. John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's Catholic community will be able to attend their local parishes again from next week. The Hobart Archdiocese has confirmed churches will reopen on Monday. Numbers will be restricted to 10 people per service, with each parish to take bookings. Churches will also open for personal prayer at times determined by the local priest. Motorists taking advantage of relaxed travel restrictions are being reminded to look out for animals on their journey. After several weeks of quiet roads, Bonarong Wildlife Sanctuary says they've had far fewer reports of injured animals recently. But high rainfall could mean there's more risk for wildlife.
So a lot of green grass on the side of the roads will absolutely entice animals closer.
Greg Irons says drivers should check an animal's pouch if they do have a collision and to seek help if they're not sure what to do.
Just carrying a pillowcase and a beanie to store young joeys can be really handy as well. So, our advice is always call people that work in the field.
Tasmanians are now allowed to access parks and reserves within 30 kilometres of their home. He plays in front of hundreds of thousands of people and rakes in prize money from around the globe. And Cam Johns does it all from his Launceston home. The professional gamer is making a living out of the smash hit computer game Rocket League and even has an Olympics berth on the horizon.
Cam Johns is not your typical gamer, even by his own admission.
I never really expected to be a professional gamer, I guess you could say, and I'm sort of a sporty bloke and I guess I don't really fit the bill of the stereotype.
But it's taken him to tournaments around the globe. Watched by 250,000 people online and 10,000 in the stands, with prize pools in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, all from the computer game Rocket League, which is effectively car soccer.
It's family friendly.
It's netted the 21-year-old tens of thousands in prize money. Ironically, John studies exercise science when he isn't playing.
And I guess I've just stumbled upon esports and all of a sudden, I'm sitting on my butt for most of the day.
Although the global travel grounding means Johns is stuck at home for now, he's in line to go to Tokyo next year as the Olympics expands into esports. As Tasmania's only professional Rocket League player, Johns really is the driving force for the state against the game's heavyweights in North America and Europe.
I'm a very competitive person, and the fact that it's a team sport and that competition is really the driving factor for me.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
A new phone app is being touted as a game changer in the way paramedics rescue lost bushwalkers. What's 3 words helps simplify GPS coordinates, and it's already potentially saved its first life here in Tasmania.
Imagine being stranded in rugged terrain without phone reception and tens of kilometres away from help. Cornelia Gratzer was confronted with this exact scenario on Flinders Island earlier this year.
Decided to rain and the rocks got wet and I slipped.
Her hiking group immediately dialed 000, but paramedics could not locate Cornelia in the dense environment. That's where the free What 3 Words app became invaluable.
They got their 3 words and said it, and They managed to pinpoint me, but within 3 metres.
The new technology tracks your GPS coordinates even without reception and generates random words to help pinpoint a location.
Rather than having to remember a whole series of numbers traditionally used with GPS, you can just reiterate those 3 words.
Cornelia's 3 words: murky, founding and spoonfuls.
Unique words, and they describe that grid.
Certainly unique, but extremely effective.
We can use that app to find those 3 words, put them in our end, and then locate you quicker.
Ambulance Tasmania is the first emergency service in the nation to use the app in a rescue situation. It now sees it as a powerful tool in its arsenal.
Anything we can use to save time obviously helps, especially in an emergency.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. A few light showers over the west today. Nothing major, but fine elsewhere around the state after some localised morning fog. Hobart 17 today, Launceston and Devonport 15, Burnie 16 degrees. St Helens with our high of 19. Friendly Beaches, Grove and Ouse 17. Flinders Island, Smithton and Lowhead 15 degrees. King Island 14, Lyawini and Strawn 13. Low level cloud over western Tasmania today, while the early cloud over the Midlands cleared fairly quickly. More low cloud is off the coasts of Victoria and South Australia. Lower cloud over coastal New South Wales and Queensland. Not much else to report there. Tomorrow the high moves off over the Tasman Sea after its very brief visit. A cold front tracks over the waters south of the Bight, extending a trough over Western Australia. Winds north to northwesterly at 10 to 20 knots, reaching up to 20 to 25 knots over the east and to even 30 knots over the west and south. Swells up to 4 metres. A strong wind warning is current from southeast Cape to Sandy Cape. Saturday for Hobart, a top of 17 and a sunny day. Partly cloudy for Medina, 15 the high, 13 for Oatlands. Launceston, a top of 16, morning fog, a possible shower, 15 the top for Devonport, same sort of weather. Partly cloudy for Lyawini, a top of 9. Burnie, a possible light morning shower clearing, 15 the top, 15 for Strawn, Marrawar. Partly cloudy and 14 degrees. St Helens mostly sunny, 16 the top, 17 for Swansea and Orford. On Sunday, showers over the west and far south, gradually clearing, maybe a light shower over the southeast. Fine on Monday apart from a few light showers over the north. Another shower over the north on Tuesday, possibly extending to the west in the afternoon. Sunny in Perth tomorrow. Sunny and 18 in Adelaide and Melbourne. Sunny and cool in Canberra. A shower for Sydney, a top of 19 there. Partly cloudy and 24 in Brisbane. Mostly clear in Hobart, 11 right now, a bit of cloud over Launceston, 12 currently and 13 in Devonport. Got to hurry up with the weather. Kim's told me she has to hop off and do that commercial for her favourite fried chicken outlet. It's supposed to be a red tie, isn't it, Kim?
Oh, I'm just getting ready for the restaurants to reopen. That's all. I'm just a little bit early. That's your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Join Rachel and the Polite weather team over the weekend. Good night.